Her death is just one of nearly 15,000 children killed in Gaza since the war began in October, according to the UN's Human Rights Office. Her name is now a rallying cry around the world for what the United Nations calls atrocities taking place in Gaza. But her death has been shrouded in mystery. Her name is Hind Rajab, and she was just 5 years old when she was killed with her family trapped in a vehicle. Her face spread across social media, her name shared online, put on posters, emblazoned on a banner unfurled during the Columbia University protests, renaming their academic building Hind Hall in her honor. In tonight's Prime Focus, ABC's Marcus Moore reports on Hind's death and retraces the moments right before she died, on the phone with medics, pleading for help.
أجي أخذك؟
Monday, the 29th of January, Gaza City. 5-year-old Hind Rajab is scared and alone.
حواليكي في ضرب رصاص؟
At 9:32 that morning, as war raged closer to her family in the west of the city, the Israeli army issues an urgent order on social media for residents to leave the area. Hind's family split up, grab what they can, and go. A quarter-mile from home, the vehicle Hind is in with 6 other members of her family comes under fire. Medical dispatchers at the Palestinian Red Crescent call them on the phone trying to help. At around 2:30 p.m., they reach Hind's cousin, Layan. She's in the back seat next to her, and this is part of that call.
Hello? Hello, مرحبا عمو. Hello, مرحبا. الدبابة جنبي. انتوا متخبيين؟ في السيارة احنا جنبينا الدبابة.
As shots ring out,
Hello? Hello?
the line goes silent. Moments later, it is Hind who picks up the phone.
ميتين؟ وهم هلا بعد بالسيارة؟
Just after 5:40 p.m., 2 paramedics, Yusuf Zaino and Ahmed Al-Madhoun, are urgently dispatched to where Hind is trapped and surrounded, roughly 2 miles away. By this time, Hind has been on the phone for more than 3 hours, and it's getting dark.
خليكي يا عمري بالسيارة، أنا حتمني فاتح الخط معاكي، أتمني أحكي معك، ما بدي أسكر التليفون، تمام؟
الدبابة جنبية.
الدبابة وين؟
جنبية.
الدبابة جنبكم؟ عم تتحرك ولا واقف؟ نزل حدا منها؟
هي بتتحرك.
هي جاية عليكي من قدام السيارة الدبابة؟ قريب كتير؟
كتير.
وعم تمشي؟
By 6 p.m., those paramedics are close. They radio their operators.
خليك معي، شايف السيارة أنت؟ لا مش شايف مشغل السرينة واللواح؟
السرينة لا. لوحات السيارة ما
Then their line goes silent. By now, Red Crescent dispatchers had managed to patch Hind's mother, Wessam, into the call, hoping that it might calm the scared little girl. When that bang echoed through the phone line, Wessam cried out to her daughter, using her nickname, Anud.
اه يا زين.
ام هند
بخير؟ الحمد لله الحمد لله.
بخير، هي بخير.
The team did what they could to keep her talking, but it was clear that the child's thoughts were drifting. She just kept saying, "Come get me, quickly." And finally, they lose contact altogether. For the next 12 days, as the fighting still raged, no one knew for sure what exactly happened or where Hind was. Her mother begged the international community not to forget her daughter and to bring her home. Appealing for information, the Red Crescent posts photos of Hind and the paramedics on social media. The story goes viral. When a Palestinian civil defense crew finally reached the area, The scene was absolute carnage. The ambulance containing the two paramedics was decimated, charred and crushed. And just 50 yards away, the bullet-riddled remains of a black car. Inside, the bodies of Hind, Leanne, and 5 more family members shot to death. The U.S. State Department called for an investigation.
We are devastated about the reports of the death of Hind Rajab. We have asked the Israeli authorities to investigate this incident on an urgent basis. We understand that they are doing so. We expect to see those results on a timely fashion, and they should include accountability measures as appropriate.
On February 25th, the Israeli Defense Force issues a statement saying that from their preliminary inspection, it appears the IDF troops were not present near the vehicle or within firing range of the described vehicle in which the girl was found. Satellite imagery of the area recently published by Planet Labs and dated January 29th contradicts that claim. It shows what appears to be 4 Israeli armored vehicles roughly 300 yards from where Hind was trapped in her uncle's car. A Washington Post investigation using dispatcher recordings, photos, and videos of the aftermath, and more than a dozen interviews with military, satellite, munitions, and audio experts found more than a dozen Israeli armored vehicles visible within a quarter mile of the Hamada family car, and that the sound of the gunfire from the call with Leanne and evidence from photos of the bullet holes in the car were consistent with weapons used by the Israeli army. The 7 family members, including Hind, were buried at Al-Shifa Hospital.
والله ما تخيلت هاللحظة، ما تخيلتش ولا ثانية ولا خطر في بالي لو دقيقة إنها ممكن هند تجيني مستشهدة، ولا لحظة ولا ثانية، كل شوية أقول لا.
The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza now says more than 35,000 people have been killed so far in this war, and more than 13,000 recorded as children. Rana Faki was the calming voice on the other end of the line with Hind. She's seen so much during her time as a Red Crescent dispatcher, but it is the innocence she heard on the call with Hind that brings her to tears today. I want to ask you about the call and while you were on the phone with Hind.
هو كان صوت طفلة حزينة مرتجف. أنت خلتني أرجع. تحكي ليش إنه هلا يعني خلاص خليني أحكي لك شو اللي صار إنه إذا بدي أرجع يعني ما تخليني هلا أنا بتحكي معي لا.
Faki was back at work the day after Hind's body was found. There were more calls to answer. The office walls here pay homage to her colleagues who've been killed, 15 of them, they say, since the start of the war, leaving many to wonder, will there ever be justice for those killed? And will there be justice for Hind Rajab? Are you confident that there will be an investigation and that it will answer the questions of what actually happened?
بصراحة لا. يعني اللي عم بشوف على أرض الواقع هي الموضوع كمان هلأ مش بس هند. إذا بدنا نيجي نحكي عن الوضع اللي بغزة موجود كان في تحرك من قبل. يعني أتوقع إنه أنا ما عندي ثقة بصراحة.
Hind's mother is staying at a refugee camp in central Gaza, enduring the unimaginable pain of losing a child. And while surrounded by the horrors of this war, she is moved by the way Hind's story has galvanized worldwide protest over the bloodshed in Gaza. She only hopes it will inspire those still fighting to choose peace.
Our thanks to Marcus Moore for that story. After the IDF initially denied their troops had been in the area when Hind was killed, a State Department spokesperson told ABC News last week the Israelis, quote, told us there had in fact been IDF units in the area, but the IDF claims they had no knowledge or involvement in the type of strike described.